Good morning, everyone. I'm pretty sure it's day 166 of the GGR, and there's a few things going on. It was exciting to see all the events of the last few days, and some of it's still going on. And in fact, I think we'll just do the traditional bit, heading to the back of the fleet first, and then we'll talk about everything that's going on up forward. And as we projected, these guys are making pretty good time. 5.9 knots for Ian. Right on track. He's not far away from the zone, but it's still okay. 119 nautical miles in the last 24 hours. He's happy with that. And Jeremy is doing 6.9 knots, probably enjoying that for sure. 150 nautical miles a day in the last 24 hours, so that's kind of good. He's got a very nicely established nor'norwesterly there, and Ian's got a nor'wester, so that keeps the sea down a little bit and keeps them quite happy. So in about 12 hours they're looking something like this. So same thing for Jeremy, and the same, maybe lightening off a bit for Ian. 24 hours out, and it's still rolling along the same. So through for the first day and a half, looking good. Ian's got a puff coming up behind him, and then we go into second day. He'll be ahead of that, but it's still going to be generally, pushing him along. Going to get a little bit fluffy, sort of a little bit confused. There'll probably squalls there for Jeremy in that middle bit. Let's have a look at their cloud state at that stage. So clouds, boom, yeah, very cloudy. Interesting, there's a bit of rain there. That would have gone over the top of Jeremy, so maybe he'll catch a bit of water with that. I'm just backtracking. Yeah, gone right over the top of him. So there it is. Boom, boom. Yep, plenty of rain there. That's a huge amount of rain. So Ian they just dropped forward to their 8 o'clock position. So still doing 6.5, 151 in the day for that, and Ian 122 miles in the day, 5.9. So come back to the wind, keep pushing him forward another one, around about coming into the third day. Still looking okay. Ian's going to slow down a bit there. So, but anyway, no big surprises, no big storms, touch wood. Everything's looking good for him. So we will leave them to it. Oh, get rid of that. This is my Chinese software program. I don't use any of that stuff, but okay. So here we go. And wrong way. Come on, looking at Captain Goog. And I think we can do a broad overview of everyone here except for Simon. Well, we'll go up to Simon. Basically, he's still in the same spot. He might be on the move by the look of it. I think he is. He said he's due to take off today. I'm just going to zoom in and see if he's coming out of the anchorage. The weather's looking a bit possible. Where is he here? Oh, I zoomed in too far. I got to find him here. So there he is. Yep, it's that's interesting. I'll keep coming down. No, he's still there. I thought he might have moved. He might have been on the outside, but he's leaving sometime today. So he's still sitting tight. If we just go back a bit, you'll see what he's going to get. He's on the jeepers, this mouse is, every time I hit it, it zooms up again. He's going to head out into this southerly, which is okay because he can take that on the beam and just make direct sea room. He knows it's going to go light when he gets out there, so that's okay. And then it's going to be a mixed bag. So okay, so just coming forward. You can see how it's changing. It'll be light headwinds then once that southerly goes, so he'll just go south on that. When there's the headwinds there, he'll be tacking either way, and then slowly but surely as he gets out there, it's still going to be tough, but he's going to have he's got some headwinds he's going to have to go with, but it's light stuff. And with that headwind, he'll probably just go for sea room. He'll be just keeping on the port beam, coming out here to get offshore. And then as soon as this westerly starts to approach, he will actually start to head south on that. But whatever happens, so that's going to be the established. This is on the 18th, 24 hours later. It's going to be tough the first day, but then hopefully he can make the most of this westerly here and start coming down the coast, not get too close to the lee shore. And generally, yeah, then the further south he gets, he puts him into a position where he may get nor'westers and stuff. So it's probably the best of the bad lot that he's got. But you can see there, it's going to be strengthening northwesterly winds, so he'll be on a roll. So sometime today you'll see him lose port, and he'll be back underway in a pretty good situation with wind vane all sorted, lots of different jobs done, very relaxed, and able to make the most of going south. Okay, my mouse is playing up and it's hitting the zoom every time I do it. So Goog having a great ride, 6.5 knots. He did 150 nautical miles in the day. He's doing exactly what we suggested yesterday, coming down this sort of edge of the heavier weather, and that's perfect sailing for him. So, and it looks like that'll continue. Now, well, we wanted to come up and have a good look at Abolish anyway, so we'll talk about him as well. Abolish is reporting all sorts of things. You may have noticed in the tweets he had a diesel leak. He hasn't expanded on that, but in the previous batch of heavier weather, when he tacked across off the lee shore, he just said he had a diesel leak somewhere, and I'm assuming that was a leak into the cabin. We haven't heard much since. The other thing that he's done is he's taken his wind generators. Both wind generators are off. They went underwater during the knockdowns and so on, and they probably aren't working. He hasn't confirmed whether they were working or not, but when you take them off, it means they must not be getting any power into the boat, and he may miss that because that was always putting a lot of power in. So he'll be down to solar panels and the engine if he had to use that to charge batteries. Everything else seems to be pretty reasonable. He's running on the chopped up emergency ship's rudder. All entrants have to have a ship's rudder and emergency rudder system, steering system, and Abolish was the plank. He's chopped a bit of that plank out, and he's still running again. At the time, he didn't know how long it's going to last, and he still hasn't confirmed whether he thinks it's going to go all the way back to La Sarbe. Let's hope it does, and so we'll just see how that pans out, but it's working at the moment. I didn't ask for that to be zoomed up then. And Kirsten made the most of going around. There's something that someone pointed out yesterday, one of the comments, I wasn't watching the currents. And if we look at the currents here and then just zoom in a bit on that to see what was happening to Kirsten when she went around, in yesterday's report, she was faced a bit as if she may have gone through the Stretcho de la Mer, but immediately when the wind swung a bit, she carried on and she hooked up to this current here, and she's been flying. She was doing 8-9 knots down there for a while, and she's now well and truly clear of that and heading up towards the Falklands. So Abolish is not in current at the moment. There was a bit going down there. You might get a bit of a boost later on, so that's not too bad. But anyway, that was good to see with Kirsten. She got a big kick. So now coming back for all three, and we'll walk the weather through. Bernard Matesi is doing okay. He's in the same. This mouse is playing up, unfortunately. I'll scrap it after this. Okay, so that's today's weather now, and we can scroll this forward and we can watch what happens to all three of them, and watch ahead of Kirsten. You'll see something really interesting happening. So we're now going every hour, pushing through. So the wind's increasing for Goog, and no storms, but just solid. It's 30 gusting 40 there. So he'll just speed up a bit, but then it's lightening off. Abolish is going to get more breeze, but it's all from the right direction, all from northwest. Check out what Kirsten just missed. She's missed that by a couple of days, but I'll explain all that in a minute. We didn't get all of my transmission yesterday on Facebook, so we missed the last bit. I was talking about how the weather can be quite extreme once you get around the corner, and that's what's happening right now. So Kirsten's going into a bit of a mixed bag there. She'll keep sailing, but very slow, and that's going to roll on for probably a day, and that'll bring her onto the backside of that big low pressure system that's heading away to the southeast. And Goog's just rolling along, and again he's got this heavier stuff coming, but this is on the 19th, in 2 days ahead, and he'll be further down by then. And again, it's not a big storm, it's just solid weather. And in fact, it'll be fast. He'll be able to run with a small head sail there up the front. No mizzen, maybe one reef in the main, or get rid of the main completely. And that's going to be, 30 gusting 40, probably 5 metre seas. So he'll make good time. And we don't call that a storm. It's starting to pick up a bit there, and we'll watch the development of that. That's going to be a bit more, but again, all pretty good. In the meantime, if you had been watching that with Abolish, he'll get around Cape Horn pretty quickly. We'll zoom in and check the distances. So there's no big storms on the way. That's the good news. There's certainly some solid weather for Michael. when he gets down there, but for Abolish it looks like a reasonable run. And I'll just bring it back just to show you the weather. I'd say a day out. His distance to the Horn as it stands at the moment is distance to the Horn, 194. So give him 30 hours, 36 hours, and he'll be around. So sometime tomorrow night, French time, he'll be around in Cape Horn, I reckon, and the weather's pretty reasonable for that. Now, I'll just wrap up with this, and Goog's looking pretty good as well. Just coming back here, what I said yesterday was that we tend to think that once you're around Cape Horn, you're going to clear out. But here's 40 degrees south there. That's 40 degrees south. This is still the roaring 40s down here, and it's very much the case. You've got to get right up here into the South Atlantic High before you look anything like getting away from those low pressure systems coming through. And that takes them quite a few weeks to get up there. You need to be right up past Buenos Aires, right up in here somewhere before you can expect to get what looks like the trade winds of the South Atlantic High. So in the meantime, this has got to be transited. Everyone's got to get through it, and that's where she wanted to be. And to give you an idea, that system there, this is that system, and this is basically about 24 hours from now. And Kirsten is down around here. She's 2.5 days. She misses it by about 2.5 days. Wind gust 71 knots. Wind is 45 knots, so it's 45 gusting 71, and the waves around about 8.2 meters. So where do you see that? You see that deep in the Southern Ocean, and you got to remember this is still the Southern Ocean. This is 45 degrees south there, so they're not out of the thick of it yet. But it does feel a bit different when you're up there, but it's still just as nasty. You don't get the long rolling Southern Ocean swells. These swells can come from anywhere, and in fact, if you look at this one, this is just a classic. So the swell is from the southeast, and it's 8.2. There is a secondary swell at that point, which is only 0.3, but it's from the northwest, and there's a third swell on that, which is not coming up. There it is. Okay, it's only 0.1 of a metre. Okay, that's not so bad, but you can actually get 3 lots of swells there because it's more wind dependent rather than huge rolling swells coming from the west all the way across to the east. So it gets a bit nastier sometimes in this zone. Anyway, back to this. So that's about it. We'll, again, Michael Goog's not reporting any problems. Neither is Jeremy. Neither is Ian. They're all plodding along. Abolish has still got work going on consistently, and let's hope his wind vane holds and Kirsten's flying. So all is good. See you later. Thanks.